It's a little cold. And I don't feel cold very often, but I'm feeling cold today. That is why I'm covered in blankets. I've got a blanket on the floor, I've got a blanket over me, I'm wearing this bathrobe that I am really beginning to enjoy. I don't know why my house is so cold today. Usually it like contains the heat. I don't know what's happened. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to 2021. Happy New Year. How were your holidays? Mine were wonderful. I shut off my brain for 2 weeks. I mostly stayed off social media. I'm sorry if I haven't gotten back to anybody's DMs or messages. Genuinely, I was just enjoying my time not being on the internet. The first week, I kind of regret spending in Liverpool because London went into tier 4 and we might be going into another lockdown. By the time this video's up, it probably might be already a lockdown, but we'll see what happens. But aside from that, I really enjoyed my time in Liverpool with Saf. I stayed at a haunted hotel by accident. If you would like me to make a video on that, please let me know. It was just a great time because I don't know about you, but I enjoy traveling and seeing new places, and London is kind of the place that I've always been, aside from villages in Bangladesh. And villages in Bangladesh, I say that very loosely because most of the time I spent in the house anyway, and I enjoy exploring different places and learning about different people and culture, if there is any to learn. So that is definitely something that I will continue doing, is visiting new places and meeting new people. After that, I had isolated with my boyfriend, and it was a wonderful time. We just sat back, played video games, watched a lot of movies, got hella turned, and it was a nice time away. I hope you had I know things are really difficult right now and everybody has to kind of make the best of what they have, but I hope you had a good holiday as well. For me, the holidays have always been kind of lonely, and I'm really happy that 2020 ironically has been the least lonely, because I think I spread out a lot. Maybe I shouldn't have. You know, I spent half of my holidays with Saf, I spent half of my holidays with my boyfriend. I purchased Turtle, my hamster. I know that name is confusing, but honestly, it's just the perfect name for him. I have a hamster. There have been some requests to film some hamster content, and I intend to do some bonding with Turtle today, so I'll see. It really depends on his comfortability. He seems pretty comfortable with me, but I've not handled him outside of his cage at the moment. You know, he lets me pet him and he's very comfortable with me in general. I've picked him up a total of 1 time, and I got so excited that I flinched and he freaked out and jumped off into the cage. So he's fine, nothing happened to him. I just felt so honored that my little boy trusted me to hold him. Especially since I've not had him for that long, it's only been a few days. We will try and see if he enjoys a little bit of just free roaming, free playing. I haven't quite figured out how I want to do it yet. I think I have some ideas for what I want to do, but not entirely. Anyway, today, that's enough about me. Let's get back to me. So, over the holidays, I had gotten an email from ZA, and he had collected and compiled a buttload, like a fuck ton of questions for me to answer, and he's, you know, the email was very formal, and I really appreciate it, so thank you for sending this through to me. He said, spoke to some folks that I know who also watch your videos, and here is what we have. I edited for clarity and brevity and grouped them as I saw fit. Feel free to ignore any questions you don't feel like answering. It would be great to have a video of you doing this Q&A. So the first video of 2021, even though the first video that I posted was Monday's video, where I was sending off a bag of mine. I'm sorry, it was just something that it was very spur of the moment. It's just something I felt like I needed to post. This will be like the first intended video of 2021. So the first question is, do you speak, read and write Arabic, and if so, how well? I read and write Arabic. I studied Arabic for 5 years in my Islamic school. I have an Arabic qualification. I have an Arabic GCSE, which is not saying much, by the way. I know I'm saying that, but saying that you have an Arabic GCSE is like saying you know passable English, if that. But in terms of speaking, my speaking has never been great because I just didn't have the practice. Like sometimes I know the words, I just don't know how to say them, and like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I have like a very broken comprehension of Arabic. Like I can pick up here and there what people are saying. If I'm reading something in Arabic, I can understand it. It just takes me a long time to sort of figure out what it says. But in terms of like learning how to read the language without actually understanding it, I've been doing that practically my whole life. 2, what about Bengali? How fluent are you? What language do you converse with your family, or did you converse with your family? I knew fluently Sylheti Bangla, which is a dialect of Bangla. The language is Bangla. I conversed almost entirely with my family in Bangla. It was actually a rule when I was a child that we could only speak Bangla at home. We weren't allowed to speak English, not until like my 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th siblings were born. So when it was just me and my brother, we would always speak Bangla in the house. It was just a rule of thumb. You speak English at school and you speak Bangla at home. I have not spoken Bangla in a hot minute. It's been a few years, and while I do think that I retain the majority of my language, I've not spoken it in a while, and I'm not very confident in it, which is why like a lot of people are like, oh, make videos in Bangla, and I'm like, well, first of all, my dialect isn't as popular as some people would like to think, and second of all, I am just not super confident in it. I wish I had more, specifically Sylheti friends that I could speak to in Bangla. But yeah, that's as much as I can say. The 3rd question is, do you remember a time before your family became more conservative Muslims, and what was it like, and how was it different? How different was it from the later change? Initially, like when I was a young kid, I want to say before I turned 11, like before my teenage years or my preteens, my family was not very religious. They were Muslim in name, like we called ourselves Muslims. My mum prayed and fasted, and she was quite practicing. But my father's side of the family especially, they were not very practicing at all. The only time that I ever saw any kind of practice from my father's side of the family was around Ramadan. No one, aside from that specific month where Muslims fast, no one would pray or recite Quran or anything like that. Most of my aunts didn't even wear hijab. Like, they were pretty much run-of-the-mill, They weren't very practicing, is what I'm saying. They weren't very conservative. It was sort of an abrupt change when my father decided that he wanted to be more religious, because we jumped from not being conservative at all and slightly more traditional, which is, traditional is fun. I do want to say that. Traditional is incredibly fun, but it is not as conservative as conservative. I don't even know if I'm making sense. We jumped from like, a 1st generation traditional Bengali home to Tabligh Jamaat, which is already fairly conservative, and then it just kept getting more conservative as we went on. But I don't know, I do feel as though as a child I did make a lot of choices to be more interested in religion, and I was actively choosing to participate. I never felt this need to rebel against my father wanting to be more religious, which it's debatable whether or not I can carry blame for that, because I was a child. I never felt forced into religion. It was just a case of my dad was really into it, and me and my dad got along really well. Me and my dad got along really well up until like the last 3 months of us falling out, and it was just something we kind of bonded over. We were both really interested in religion and what the meaning of life was. We're awfully similar people, and it honestly terrifies me sometimes. So number 4, on topic. Number 4, we were horrified at hearing the stories about your dad. How do other people in your family interact with him? Is he toxic to them too? Now, this is a bit of a downer of a question, but I will answer it briefly. No one in my family likes my dad. No one in my family likes my dad. They tolerate my dad. My father, aside from me, up until 2015, my father has fallen out with every single female member of his family. Every single one. From his mother to his sisters to his aunts, like you name it, he's fallen out with them. He got along with my mother. As far as I'm aware, he and my mother, existed with each other. They didn't love each other. I don't think they loved each other. But there was no abuse in that relationship. It was very much a partnership. They just kind of functioned almost like a machine, which is incredibly sad, but I also know that sometimes it can be even worse. But my mother just knew how to work around him. Whereas with my other family members, especially when you talk about me and what happened to me, I got along with my father a lot, and he would share his sort of misogynistic ideas with me, and I would sort of question them and be like, okay, but what about this and what about that? And we would have a discussion around it, but ultimately he was my dad and I had to go along with it, The rest of my family really don't like my dad. Actually, the moment that I had reported him to the police and I was at my grandma's house, one of the first things she said to me, me coming out of a traumatic experience being in her house, one of the first things she said to me, she was like,
"None of us like your dad, but you know he has problems, so why did you report him to the police?"
It's just a case of trying to preserve the family name. That's all it is. I don't really know how to expand on that. It would take several videos to explain that, but the culture in Bangladesh is very much your value is how other people see you, and your family name has value if other people think you have value. One of the things that my dad told me was that his mother used to tell him that it doesn't really matter if you don't have food in your stomach as long as your clothes are clean. And that's kind of the norm in Bengali culture, is that as long as you look good, it doesn't really matter what's going on behind the scenes, which I openly disagreed with. And my father was incredibly abusive, not just to me, but to all of my siblings, some of which were babies at the time, and someone needed to call the police. And I was the one to do it. Are there any other ex-Muslim or non-practicing Muslims in your family, or are you the only one? I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I already get a fair number of people in my family in trouble because there are people in my family who have previously helped me and have been in contact with me in the past, and they've gotten in trouble because, with my extended family, because they're in contact with me or because they've helped me. So I don't really feel comfortable disclosing that information, but I wouldn't be ultimately, A, I don't know, and B, if I did know, I would not be comfortable sharing that information just because I know how my family are. When you were a practicing Muslim, did you ever hear about the murders of atheists and secularists in Bangladesh? If so, what was the general perception among UK Bangladeshis about these incidents? I didn't really hear much about this. Usually when we talked about Bangladesh, it was usually about family back home and things that were going on. If there was flooding, then we would be talking about that. We very rarely talked about political issues in Bangladesh. And also, I was also a kid, it's not really something that, atheists being murdered in Bangladesh, not really something you hear as a kid. It's not kid-friendly discussions. How conservative are UK Bangladeshis? We've had some very negative stories about the situation among Bangladeshis in some parts of the UK. So this is a very broad topic when it comes to radicalization and gated communities and isolated communities within Southern Asia and things like that. It's a very, very long topic, But from my experience, Bangladeshis have been one of two, like one of two extremes, is that they're incredibly non-practicing or they are incredibly practicing. I don't know why there's that trend, but that's what I've seen. There's not really much I can comment on the conservatism of UK Bangladeshis because obviously I can't speak for all of them, but as I said, like my family originally were not conservative Muslims. It was a case of my father becoming, well, he had a midlife crisis and then he became very, very curious in religion, kind of used religion to solve his internal turmoil. So that's kind of how it happens, you know. Religion preys on the vulnerable, and my father was in a very vulnerable position and he chose to go with religion. It's not something that he can ultimately take back now, but it's what happened. Are UK Bangladeshis aware of the events of 1971 and the Bengal genocide by the Pakistani army? Does it ever come up? I didn't really hear about it until like I was a little older, until I was like 16, 17. It was something that me and my grandfather discussed. It was something that my mum and I sometimes talked about. Well, not talked about, we like mentioned it and we would have like little like my grandfather, because my grandfather was heavily involved in that time. You know, he would tell me stories from that time, and like my grandfather was very close to me. I miss my granddad. My granddad would tell me these stories about his life in Bangladesh and things that he got up to in Bangladesh, and he was actually against the independence. I'm not entirely sure what his motives were. He seemed pretty confused with his motives because he was incredibly secular, but at the same time he liked Ayatollah Khomeini, so I don't really know what was going on there. Sometimes I just feel like some Bengali men just like being involved in politics, not because they understand it, but because they think it makes them look smart. But no, my granddad was a fugitive from Bangladesh, which is why he immigrated to the UK. And he would tell me stories of his time in Bangladesh and things that he took part in. And I would talk about it with my mum, and she would tell me about like this genocide that happened. When you were a Salafist, what was your perception of Shia Muslims? I'm gonna make people angry. Well, wait, you know the answer to this question. When you were a Salafist, what was your perception of Shia Muslims and Ahmadiyya Muslims? What is the general feeling among UK Salafists about this group? Okay, first of all, I wouldn't call us, or us, I wouldn't call them Salafists. They're Salafis, Salafi Muslims. And when I was a Salafi Muslim, I did not consider Shias and Ahmadis Muslims. They were considered blasphemers, and that's about as much as I feel like talking about on that. 10. What do you think about the recent killings in France by Muslim extremists? What do you think? I think it's terrible. And this has been sectioned off, so I'm assuming that this is like a different person who's asked these questions. Thank you for these questions, by the way. How do you spend your days during COVID lockdown in the UK? You can see exactly how I spent my days in the lockdown in the UK. I've made a playlist called The Isolation Diaries, and it's on my channel. You can watch, I think it's like 100 and something videos. I uploaded a video every day. I had a daily routine that I would try to stick to. Was get up in the morning, do my makeup even though I was going nowhere, do my chores, record a video, edit it, put it out. Like I wanted a frequent work schedule, so I would upload every single day and it would help me. I picked up and like relearned some hobbies. Like I restarted doing my drawing and learned a bit about color theory. I started tattooing myself. I started, cutting my hair slightly more drastically than I had done before. It was an incredibly stressful time, but it could have been worse if I didn't have that routine in place, and that routine was really, really important to me. 12. What was your typical day like before COVID? Wake up, work for like 7 hours, work at school, and then come back, maybe do some homework or like some uni work. If it was midweek, then I would be editing or recording a video to upload later in the week, and then eat and sleep. It wasn't a very impactful day. I would have things planned like throughout the week. Like before COVID hit, I would always meet up with Alicia once a week because she's my best friend and I just like hanging out with. She's honestly just the chillest person. Like, She's the best person. Yeah, that's pretty much what my week would look like. I'm a very hard worker. I put a lot on my plate and I like being busy. Since I was a kid, I've always been like pretty studious. I like studying and reading things, and like even my downtime, like my time spent like watching stuff or reading stuff, it's usually educational to some extent. Like I love history, I love learning about animals, especially like ocean creatures, and like that's what stimulates me. So if there was like free time booked into a slot, it would be usually going down a YouTube hole on loads of different things. So I go through a number of different interests where it's like sometimes I want to learn about true crime, sometimes I want to hear what the new conspiracy theories are, sometimes it's just a case of like, oh, I want to learn about a specific type of animal. 13, what are your long-term career goals, if you have any? I don't really have long-term career goals. I've always envisioned myself as a writer. I've always wanted to publish fiction, which I have published fiction. I have 2 audiobooks that are available on Spotify. I think they're also available on YouTube, but I have been considering, because my contract with Movellas and Sony Music is over now, I have considered just collecting all of the, little segments that they made, editing it so that I take out like all the little intros, and just putting them together into one video. And if you guys want that, I'm more than happy to do that, just because I feel like people would enjoy them in that format, and it wouldn't really matter if like the videos got claimed by Sony Music and Movellas. Like I wouldn't really mind that. I'm more than happy to not monetize it at all, just because I'm just very proud that those stories of mine got published. They're 2 fiction stories. Both of them are linked in the description below if you want to check them out. And that's something that I've always envisioned in terms of like, aside from being a writer, which is just like, that's been my like long-term goal. I want to be a writer. Aside from that, like I'm currently doing a degree in psychology, and that's like the foreseeable long-term goal that I have. And that degree I will probably complete in 2 years. So I'm doing a part-time degree with Open University while I work. I'm currently on the second part of my second year of my degree. I hope that makes sense. I do want to get my degree, and I hopefully want to do a master's. I haven't decided what master's I want to do, but I'm very, very interested in learning about global intelligence and stuff like that, because I would love to learn about like counterterrorism and de-radicalization and stuff like that. There is a university in Liverpool that does a master's in that, and Saf is very excited because she's like, okay, you have to do your master's here. There's also universities in London that do that master's. So I'm still thinking over what that's gonna look like. But yeah, those are my long-term career goals as far as I can tell. Like I know I want to do more of my volunteer work with like CEMB and public speaking and all of that stuff, and that's all not for profit. I do that out of my free time, and because I feel really, really strongly about it. I do enjoy working with teenagers. I find them really, really interesting, and I love just hearing about their little problems and giving them like little solutions. And it's just a very rewarding job. So I would love to eventually work towards like de-radicalizing young teenagers, but I don't really think there's a niche for that at the moment. So we'll see what happens. Where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years? Kind of the same question. So let me tell you what my ultimate dream is. I hope that this will answer any questions that you like. I hope that answers this question. But my ultimate dream, like my dream for like when I'm older and I'm financially secure and like I have my own thing going and I don't have to worry too much about stuff, is that I want a house. I want to live in Edinburgh, and I want it to be a fairly sizable house because I like hosting. I like having guests. I'm an incredibly sociable person. I like playing host. It makes me feel useful. I've expressed in other videos, like I have a hard time like eating by myself, because I've always thought of eating as like a social activity. So that's one of the reasons why I got a hamster, is just to have some company while I eat. I understand how sad that sounds, but it's not. Like it's just something that I grew up with. Like I you know, as a child, I grew up in my grandma's house around my uncles and like their kids and their wives and stuffs, and then like moving into my parents' house. When I was a teenager, I've had loads of siblings. Like I'm the oldest of 6, and eating was always like this communal sort of social activity, and eating by myself now just feels really weird. You know, which is why like I really enjoy my lunches at work. Just thought I would say that. But that's my ultimate dream, is that I want this house in Scotland, because I've heard that Edinburgh is very similar to London in that it's very busy, but it's significantly smaller, so I wouldn't like require a car. You know, and I don't know, I enjoy the cold, so I want to be there as well. I would like to house my siblings if they will have me, if they want to be around me, because I genuinely miss them, and I hope they find their way back to me at some point. Aside from that, in terms of career has never been like the main focus of my mind. I've always thought of myself, like I love doing YouTube, I love public speaking, stuff like that, and if it was a feasible income, I would continue doing it. And having said that, like if you do want to support me in a monetary way, you can. I'm not trying to force you or push you into anything. I'm just saying you can. All of the links are in the description, so it every little helps, you know. Obviously if you can't do that, that's fine. Like I'm not in desperate need of money. It's just if, you know, you felt like being a patron, I'm indebted. I'm very grateful to all of my patrons. I would like to seriously be a YouTuber. Like if this was like my main source of income, it would be very cool, because I genuinely enjoy making these videos and like creating funny and sometimes serious content about different stuff. And I don't know, I feel like I really do thrive in the internet space, even though it can be incredibly overwhelming sometimes. But anyway, let's move on to the next question. What are your favorite foods to eat? Do you cook for yourself often? What do you cook? So my absolute favorite foods to eat are within the range of my traditional food, so Bangladeshi food and Mexican food. Those are my 2 favorite cuisines. In terms of what I cook for myself, I don't tend to cook that sort of heavy kind of meal. I grew up on Bangladeshi food and it's always been a heavy meal, but your girl is a little meaty, especially in lockdown. So I have resorted to eating like a lot of salmon. Salmon is like a staple of my diet, and rice and sometimes noodles. I do venture into chicken. Chicken is like my cheat meal. I love... Okay, listen, I've gone vegetarian twice, okay? And here's the thing. I really believe in shutting down factory farms, truly. But chicken is a top, like it's a god tier meat. It really is. I'm gonna get in trouble. I eat a lot of rice, I eat a lot of salmon. Those are staples of my diet. I'm trying to work in a lot more nuts into my diet and a lot more fruits, because I have this thing where I really enjoy fruits, but I'm like too lazy to cut them up, and it's honestly appalling, and I need to get my shit together. Like I really do. Do you ever physically exercise, i.e. swimming, yoga, pilates, jogging, etc.? So I do a lot of strength training generally. I haven't since the beginning of Corona season. Being part of a college and working for a college allows me to have access to a lot of like stuff. It just does. And the current college that I work at, they actually have said that I can have a free gym membership to the gym inside their college. And the last school I worked at, I had a free membership to their gym as well. The gyms are all closed. The gyms are all closed. Like you can't use those gyms. So I've kind of been stalling for the moment. It's just a lot of dancing. It's a lot of like just basic exercises like sit-ups, press-ups, planking and stuff like that. I did used to go swimming incredibly frequently, haven't been able to go back. It's really upsetting because I just relearned how to swim. What would your favorite vacation be? Best one that I've been on is when I went to Liverpool earlier this year because Saf took me to the beach and I really fucking enjoyed that. I'm a simple person. Give me some sand and give me some sea and I'm happy, okay? Give me a person to annoy, I'm good. That's all I need for a good holiday. And the next question is, have you ever been to France, Italy or Spain? No. I would like to visit all of those countries once the borders open up again. I have been to the Netherlands. I went to the Netherlands last year and I really enjoyed it. It was actually, in terms of weather, very similar to London, which I liked. Do you have any favorite movies, books, and books or genres, if any? What is the most recent book you've read that you liked? So I venture into a lot of fiction. Over Christmas, myself and my boyfriend, we watched every single Resident Evil movie because I cannot explain to you how much I love them, regardless of the fact that they are honestly quite terrible, except for the first one and the second one. The first one and the second one I think are good movies and I don't really care what anyone else has to say about that, but the rest of them are kind of there's a lot of plot holes and nobody really knows what's going on, but I genuinely enjoy them. They're childhood movies for me. If you've seen the rest of my room, I have posters up. Some of my favorite movies are The Matrix, Terminator, especially Terminator 2. Jurassic Park is a comfort movie for me. It's just something that I watch when I'm sick, when I'm not feeling too good, when I'm feeling low. It's just a wonderful movie. Jumanji, another great movie. There's so many movies that I could list, honestly. Gladiator would have to be my favorite all-time movie. Gladiator, no matter how many times I fucking watch that movie, no matter how many times, it makes me cry. It makes me cry. It's a great movie. My favorite animated movie of all time is The Road to El Dorado. At one point, I'm pretty sure I knew every single word, word for word, of that movie. In terms of books, my favorite thing in the whole world, above everything in terms of popular culture, is Berserk, which is a manga series that has had quite a few terrible anime adaptations, so I would recommend the manga above all. But Berserk is my favorite thing out of everything ever, and that is a manga series. I really enjoy manga. I'm an artist, so I enjoy art. Aside from those, I like the Witcher books, I like the Hunger Games. I really enjoy teen fiction. There haven't been too many fiction books that are directed at adults that have grabbed my attention. Oh yes, there were quite a few classics that I enjoyed. Tess of the D'Urbervilles is one of my all-time favorite classics, which a lot of my literature friends just don't understand because it's kind of a morbid story, but for me it was this sordid tale of a girl who was put into really tragic circumstances, and that human struggle for me has always been really interesting. Maybe it's because it's somewhat relatable to my own person, is that struggle is something that I relate to and overcoming struggle is something that I relate to. So Tess of the D'Urbervilles is really up there. I really like English literature, so in terms of Shakespeare, I know we're going there. In terms of Shakespeare, my favorite plays are Hamlet, of course. Twelfth Night is one that I really enjoy. Richard III is one that I really enjoy. I like a lot of Shakespeare's work. I think that the only one that I didn't really like, of the ones that I've read, was The Tempest. I've read quite a few of them, but The Tempest, for some reason, I didn't get it. It just felt like he was trying to break a habit or something. I don't know. Crucible, amazing play by Arthur Miller. Love that one. There was a book that I used to read over and over again. It was called The Black Book of Secrets. It was by F.E. Higgins. I no longer have a copy, but it is on my wish list. And I will purchase it once I have that money to put aside. There are a lot of things on my wish list that are kind of random, and it's because some of the stuff is from my past life that I had to leave behind, so I didn't get to carry it into my life, and I was like, okay, you know what, so I might as well put it on my wish list, and if someone wants to get it for me, then I'm you know, indefinitely grateful to you. Thank you. But that was something that it was a story that was based on the moral of patience, like the value of patience. And patience is something that, especially when I was younger, it was something that I really valued highly. Like if someone was patient, that was something that I really, really respected. And that book, the underlying sort of themes were like fatalism and patience, and those are things like fatalism especially is like something that really, really intrigues me. Those are books that really, really pique my interest. How did you learn to draw and paint? Are you self-taught, or did you have instruction at some point? I used to draw as a child, and then I stopped when I became religious, because I was only ever good at drawing faces and people, and that's, if you didn't know, haram in Islam. At least it's haram in Islam from a conservative standpoint. I stopped drawing, and I sort of started taking it back up after I left Islam, and I am completely self-taught in terms of digital art as well as like my traditional art as well. I am a bit of a sketcher, you know, I just, it's incredibly soothing for me to just sit there and like doodle, be that patterns, or like draw people's faces, or like even just draw some nonsensical proportions to faces. Like I've always found that interesting. So yeah, I am completely self-taught. Do you do commissions, and if so, how should potential customers contact you? I do commissions. You can email me at fayramen95@gmail.com, or you can DM me on any of my social medias. Everything's in the description below. But I do commissions. I don't have any set prices at the moment. Generally, I'm trying to be better with myself, because usually I'm like, oh no, I'll do it for like £10, and it's not £10 worth of work, because it will take like a couple of days for me to do like a traditional art piece. So for me, like, pricing is an issue, because I'm never confident of what to price my work at, because I genuinely don't know what the valuation is. Yeah, hit me up if you do want something drawn, or, you know, I prefer, like largely prefer doing traditional art. So if that's more of your thing, I'm more than happy to draw you something, frame it, and send it to you. That's something that I can do. I also have a merch store that you can, I actually need to put more stuff on there, but I have a Teespring that you can buy like t-shirts and like stickers and stuff of stuff that I've drawn that I'm quite proud of. So if you want to check those out, feel free to as well. Everything is in the description below. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Probably one horse-sized duck, because it's a bigger target, and I don't think I would survive, but it is the death that I would prefer. What do you think of Florida men? I'll use one word.
Trash.
If a Florida man was drowning in a dank, smelly Florida swamp with an alligator approaching, would you help them out, or would you let nature take her course? Okay, first, I have a lot of questions about this question. First of all, someone has been watching too many of my videos. Second of all, what is he doing? Like, at some level, you have to think that this is Darwinism at its finest, because what is a Florida man doing drowning in a dank, smelly Florida swamp with an alligator approaching? Like, what is he doing? Does he not know where he lives? Does he not know how he has been? You know, like, this is the environment that he's been brought up in, and he doesn't know that he shouldn't be there. 3, I'd probably call the police or like some rescue service and then let them handle it. It's not really much that I can do. I am not Steve Irwin. No, you know what? No one could ever be Steve Irwin. I am not a crocodile hunter. I don't know how to handle a crocodile if it is eating a man alive. So I'd probably call a rescue service, or an animal rescue service, because eating a Florida man can't be good for you. My scaly friend, don't do that to yourself. I'm sure there's way more nutritious stuff in the swamp aside from Florida man. Those are all of the questions. Thank you so much for them. I really, really enjoyed this. If as always, if you do have more questions to ask me, feel free to leave them in the comments or email them to me. I had a really good time. Thank you for sending this to me. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you've had a good time going through this video and listening to all of the questions that I have to answer. I will, at the end of this video, be including some hamster stuff because it is just what the world needs right now. The world needs turtle. And if you would like to see more hamster content, please do let me know what you would like to see, because this is all very new to me. And yeah, I would love to like add the progression of like me bonding with turtle at the end of my videos. Like I would love to do that. Just to add as well, I do want to start live streaming again, and I want to do live readings again. I think I'm finally confident enough in one of my works, and it's the reason why I haven't been confident in it is because it's very near and dear to my heart, and I'd be very, very upset if it just wasn't well received. So I think I've finally come to terms with that, and I think I'm finally ready to like read it out, because it's probably not going to be a published work because it's too ingrained in like my former life for me to ever feel like I can publish it. But I do want to read it because I do think it deserves some kind of recognition, and even if that's in a shitty YouTube live stream, I'm down for that, you know. But yeah, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, comments, complaints, let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And you know, if you want to check out me, check out all the links in the description below. That's all I can advise. So thank you for being here, and I will see you soon, hopefully in a live stream or in the next video. So yeah, goodbye and have a wonderful week or weekend or whatever. See you later. He's just having a nibble on his apple. Yeah, I know, the pellets can get a little boring, huh? So the apples spice things up, and you'll be happy to know that I rubbed that shit all over your cage so that you will start chewing, and I have some toys for you. Are you ready? No? You're still gonna go for chewing? Oh, he's such a sweet boy. Like, look at him. Look at him and his sweet little face. Oh, and for those of you who are worried, I don't use this ball. I had bought it before I got him, and after doing some research I found out that these aren't that safe for them. I just use it to hold him because I'm not confident enough to cup him in my hands. Is it gone? Is it finished? Would you like some more? He's such a good boy. Yeah, that was fun, huh? Would you like to try some fun? Look, I made you a course. Look what Mommy made you. I think I will let you go from here. Go on, it's okay. Just don't jump, okay? It's not safe. Oh, there's another piece of apple in there if you want it. Yeah, I need to make the holes a little bit bigger next time. What's this? What is it? Is that fun, honey? Is that fun? Oh, you're such a good boy. You're so good. I don't think so, honey. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should explore a little bit more. Yeah, what's that? That smells interesting, huh? Oh, I love him so much. Hi, baby. Good boy. Did you find the way out yet? Not quite. Like, I'm still little, I'm still looking. Oh, you're so cute, baby. You know that? You're just the cutest little guy. Did you find the tree? Did you find the tree, honey? Can we go? Do you want to go see what's in your wicker ball? Look! Unfortunately, hamsters, like, they can't see for shit. They're very short-sighted, so they're not going to be able to see things. They explore the world with their ears and with their whiskers. And their nose. What is that? What is that? Is that a good chew? Yeah? I might put that in your cage later if you like it. Oh, he likes it. Oh. Oh. I'm so happy, baby. I know I'm recording right now, but like I'm so desperate to pick up my other phone and just record him because he's so cute. You are the cutest little boy, you know that? You know that, honey? You are the cutest little boy. Do you want to see what's in your wicker ball? Yeah? Look this way. This way, honey, this way. This way. No, this way. Oh, you're almost there. You need to go underneath. Oh, or over. That works too. Are you chewing your wicker ball? I've been trying to get him to chew that for so long. Who knew? We just needed a little bit of playtime, huh? There's walnuts in there. There's all kinds of fun stuff in there. Yeah, we gotta make sure we take care of your teeth. Because if we don't, they will keep growing forever, and it's not gonna be very comfortable for you. Yeah. Is that fun? Oh, turtle honey. I don't think that's a good idea, but you can sniff. Hi. Hi. You want to explore this part again? Oh no, I don't think he likes that sound. Are we just gonna go over? Are we gonna ignore the fact that there's a tunnel, baby? There's like, I've sprinkled some sunflower seeds in there as well. Simon's incessantly texting me because he wants to know how this is going. baby. You can chew the box as well. If it's too sharp. Maybe I should have made these round. It's a little sharp. Hi, baby. Oh, is that fun? Yeah, you should go underneath. I think you should try going underneath. So I'm worried that if you get wise to the fact that you can climb things, you'll just jump out. BB? I'm so glad you like your wicker ball, baby. I've been trying to get you to play with that thing for so long. It's not a tool for you to climb out. Don't even think about it. I don't think it's a good idea. No, I don't. Because you can't survive in this house. You know the kind of animals that live in this house? Oh, you're such a smart boy. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I want to attempt to hold him, but I don't know if I'm confident because they can smell fear, and I'm anxious about holding him because he's just a little boy and I don't want to hurt him, and I want to make sure that he's okay with it. Yeah, I know, you're just giving it a sniff and a chew. Yes. Should we get this out of here? Oh, sorry. Oh, you really like that, huh? I'm gonna put that in your cage. I think you enjoy that. There's a sunflower seed right there. I can see it. You're sleeping on it. I can watch this for hours. I don't think you guys understand. I love him so much. Don't you dare climb out of the box though. Because I'm not confident enough to hold you. I've got this as a backup to scoop you up if you start attempting to climb out, boy, you know. Okay, I'm gonna look away for a second. Just so I can get my other phone. Because I'm sure that all your aunts and uncles really want to see what's going on here. So I got a little brave and I decided to host him on my bed. He is in the box and he doesn't seem to be able to reach all the way to the top, but he also hasn't quite attempted. I've seen him make real attempts at trying to escape places before. So he just seems to be enjoying himself and he's having so much fun. I want to sit here and just cry at how cute he is. Hi, honey. Hi. Hi, you having fun? Did you find all the seeds? Oh, hello. Did you hear his little squeak? Did you give us a little squeak? Good squeak? Your pouches are getting quite full, baby. You know what we can do is we can bury this box in your cage and you can play whenever you want, but I'm concerned that you won't be able to get out. I'm so glad you're chewing on your toys. I've been like concerned because he's a baby and he's not really like learned to chew, so I like covered all of his toys in like apple so that he'd chew them, and I'm so glad it's working. Like, I just took a piece of apple and just rubbed him on there. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi, honey. Hi. Oh, who's a good boy? No, 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 no. That's not a good idea. Okay, I think playtime is over. I think playtime is over. Alright, if you want to come in here, you can. Because I will put you back in your cage and you can have a little apple treat. A little apple treat for my baby. Alright, say goodbye to Turtle, guys. I'm gonna put him back in his cage because if he wants to get out, he wants to get out. And it looks like he wants to get out.